like I just that's how the passion has grown
Right.
with it. And like I don't know where your level is at now because you made a film already, Taker's Crown, and you know instead of starting with that, I guess where take us through your film history. Like how'd you get interested in film? How like walk us through where you got to writing and making your movie?
Well, I kind of became I've always been really into like storytelling and stuff. Like ever since I was like I was kind of like in the age where I was like learning to like read and write. My parents were reading like stories to me like Lord of the Rings and Beowulf and Narnia and you know, the Epic of Gilgamesh, all these types of stories, and all of them were just like really inspiring to me. And I just became fascinated with storytelling. And I pretty much as soon as I started to learn how to write, I began writing my own stories. And then kind of along the line, it kind of morphed into filmmaking after Lord of the Rings came out, and I started to watch like the behind the scenes type of content for Lord of the Rings.
I love their behind the scenes.
It's amazing. It's so good. And that type of stuff just inspired me to want to get into filming. I was like, that looks like the most fun job on the entire planet. And so like I want to be a filmmaker. So so that's kind of where that started. And I bought like a $30 digital camera or something, and my friends and I, we just started to make movies. We made a bunch of like really just stupid movies and stuff. Like I don't know, we made tons. Like that's pretty much what me and my friends did whenever we hung out. We would just make movies. And so we made a whole bunch of crazy kinds. But then kind of along the way, I started to kind of upgrade my equipment a little bit. I started to buy better cameras and, you know, tripods and lights and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then in 2012 I went to a film academy thing and spent the time there, and it was like really, really good for me. I learned so much there, and it really inspired me to take my filmmaking to the next level. So then I made like a legit short film. I had like a cast. I found actors who were like aspiring actors who lived here in Michigan to be in the film. I found, you know, filmmakers who were aspiring filmmakers to help with like the, you know, the crew and stuff. And we made like a short film, and it was a really educational experience for me. I learned a lot on that. I learned how important it was to do things like, you know, shot lists and storyboarding and all that type of stuff. It was like so important. So I learned a lot from that. And then I made another short film. And then I started to kind of like figure out where I wanted to go after that. And I was like, you know what, I have this idea for a fantasy universe that I want to create and stuff. And that kind of that's kind of where it led to like the Taker's Crown. And the Taker's Crown was kind of a 3-year journey. It started with me obviously like writing the script and stuff. And then after that, I started to like I kind of did the same thing with what I did with my short film, where I found actors and filmmakers from the Michigan area who were all wanting to get into filmmaking as much as I was. And I kind of told them about my idea, and, you know, we all rallied together and we made the movie. Like it was really expensive.
Yeah.
It was really, really tough to make. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And I sacrificed a lot to get that movie made, but it was definitely an experience. I learned a lot about filmmaking in that experience, and I also learned a lot about, I guess, myself and just kind of the filmmaking industry in general as well. Yeah. Like, it really opened my eyes to the fact that, like, it really is about, a lot of it is about how, like, who you know and stuff in the filmmaking industry, and how lucky you are. Like, because there's like at least here in Michigan, there's kind of like a network of filmmakers that live here in Michigan, and if you're not really like in the network, then they don't really care about you, you know. And that's kind of what happened with me with the Taker's Crown, unfortunately. You know, I was I was like, I'm making this fantasy film. I'm doing something that's completely different than anything else that people are making here in Michigan. And I was also part of like the Christian film industry at that point as well. But because I wasn't necessarily making like a Christian film, they didn't like care about me or anything, They're like,
that's not the plot or anything.
Yeah. So I wasn't really fitting in with that crowd. So it in a way, I guess it made it a lot harder for me because I wasn't really like.
You were trying to make God's Not Dead.
No, I had no interest in making that. So yeah, like it was definitely it was a very educational experience.
Was this for Taker's Crown or a different one?
This is for the Taker's Crown. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so the Taker's Crown is on Amazon. If anyone wants to go check it out, you can watch it there.
Yeah.
I can't watch it now. Like I can't go back and watch it.
So that's okay. I just watched it recently.
Yeah.
Without talking about that first, going on with what you're saying, like with the industry, it's like, I'm trying to like for the longest time, I've found it hard to imagine literally being in the film industry because it's like it's easy to think about how you think it will go and people can tell you about it, but there's really no way to feel it. I assume there's no way to compare it to anything else because it's completely different than real life, pretty much than what we think it is. It's like that was my worry too. Is like, do I want to be in the film industry? The last time I talked to Nerdrotic, and this is a while back, I had Nerdrotic on my channel and Midnight's Edge, and they said they had some history with Hollywood a little bit. Like they have had their hand in it, and it's just like not the best place around. And they're looking at me and they're like, "You would hate it. Like you would hate Hollywood." I'm just like, oh, man, like that kind of sucks. But then I'm like, thinking of the positive side is that, like you said, we have a lot of tools at our own hands ourselves. And people these days want to support the little guy. They want to see the little one become something great. So it's like, there is some confidence there now. Like, that's where I'm kind of looking at right now. It's like, I don't know if I'd ever make it to the film industry. I mean, I'll try. But, that's not my goal overall. It's like I want to be able to have people that want to see something happen. And if they support it, then that's great. That'll happen anyway. And
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like I when I was making the Taker's Crown, my whole vision was to get accepted by the film industry, whether that was kind of more the independent film industry or the Christian film industry. I wanted to just kind of be accepted by an industry. Right. And it didn't work out that way at all. At all. Like I wasn't making I wasn't making necessarily an independent film in the way that independent films are made, where they're pretty much made specifically to put in film festivals and stuff,
They're made to be seen and judged by, you meet this criteria here, you met this here, you told it.
I wasn't trying to make like an artsy independent film, which most independent films are. That's made specifically to go to like Sundance or something. That wasn't that's not my style. And then on the other hand, I wasn't really making a film that was for the Christian film industry, but I was like, hey, if I kind of make something kind of in the middle, maybe I'll kind of get accepted by someone along the way.
Some people might like this, kind of catch their appeal, and
but I kind of
one shot, youngster.
I kind of screwed myself over there a little bit because I wasn't making something that would get me accepted into a film industry necessarily. So I mean, from that experience, I learned, hey, you know what? Whenever I decide to do my next project and stuff, I'm not going to really pursue a film industry. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to figure out how I can make this film in the most viable way I can, and I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to make it for my audience. Good. That's what I'm going to do. That's part of why I kind of went the YouTube route as well, because I was like, hey, this would be a good chance for people that actually want to know who I am and get to know me as a person. That's kind of where I can start from with my next film. It's kind of the same way with like the the comics guys, like Ethan Van Sciver and all these guys. Like they kind of do that with their comic books as well. And that's kind of where I'm going at it from this way. I'm kind of like in the what would you call it? this is kind of like my revised way of trying to get back into filmmaking and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, it has to start with me having an audience to support me.
Yeah.
And then it has to go from there. And I think that for anybody who wants to be like a successful independent filmmaker in this day and age, you kind of have to go that route if you're not going to be making a film that is geared for like Sundance or something like that, you know? So,
yeah, I agree.
So,
I'm glad that you're going with the, with yourself route because, I think that's one of the problems that we see in Hollywood. I don't know why independent films would have such requirements like that because, it's not kind of like why they exist to be not so required, like to go off the rails with something different. Like, I don't know why artsy would be, the goal everybody wants to see, because not that many people want to see artsy. They want to see creative, want to see something with imagination, with if they want a noir, they want to see a good noir. If they want to see action, make it a good action. But it doesn't have to be limited to those specific things. Like I like see with Taker's Crown. Like it's definitely fantasy. It's definitely got this medieval / modern vibe to it. So like that's its own. I don't know what genre that would be other than fantasy.
Yeah,
but like I liked it for what it was with that. I wouldn't rate it very high personally, but I appreciate. But while watching, I really do appreciate the passion that goes into it. I can understand, the setting, the location you had to pick for a lot of the things, the people to do the things, trying to get them to act the way that you want to with it, and the fact that it's like it's not at the beginning of the story; it's at this farther point in the story, and there's more to come afterward. But it's like, at this one point, so you got to get the history rounded up, you got to get characters established, you got to get the things rolling and going, and try to make it seem fun too. So it's hard to hook people.
Yeah, I mean, whatever film I do next is not going to be involved in Taker's Crown at all. Like that whole thing is pretty much dead to me now. I'm going to be starting over completely new. So
you teased a sequel.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. So
it's like I give this, like, if I'm honest, if I'm just judging it as a film in general, I would give it like a 4 or 5 out of 10. But on like if I'm judging it like on a fan film type of level, this is definitely like a solid 6. Especially with the heart in it, and the characters aren't that bad either. To be honest, I like the main character. He's this character lost at a time. He's he got one goal in mind for the most part, and trying to interact with the modern day youngsters, kind of, and it's a little different. The only thing that I loved and hated was the carrot addiction.
Oh yeah, right.
Like that would be perfect for a YouTube video. It's like, oh, I got a character and he's addicted to carrots.
Yeah, right.
It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard. I was like, he didn't seriously write that. Oh my god, this is great. It's like some of the acting moments. I think I wrote down a few quotes when I was watching it. I was like, they said it like that. It's just like, okay,
yeah.
But the delivery was a little funny, but no, like I enjoyed watching it though, because I was like, oh man, he. I was imagining that you probably worked really hard to get to the point to make the movie, and make something that you wanted. And based on the first 5 minutes where it's giving the narration of what's going on, I imagine your writing was crazy. Like you probably had how much written down for script, how many pages, and how much did you not include, or did you?
Oh man,
you planned on expanding on it later, like.
I think the script was like 89 pages, I think, or something like that. So. Yeah, it was a decent sized script, and there was a lot of revision that went into that along the way as well. So,
did you ever keep like side notes of characters and storylines and other stuff?
Oh, dude, like I am so obsessive about like all of that type of stuff. Like I usually spend more time writing the actual like outline and character outlines and stuff before I actually write the script. So.
Ditto. I have spirals in my closet, actually. I kept them because I want to look at how ridiculous it was. But it's like, I'd have, okay, so the main characters are these people, but they have parents. And where did they come from? And what happened to them? Why did they end up with that point with the parents of none of them have anything to do with anything. It's just if it's brought up, or if I want my character to refer to something in the past, I have continuity and a reason why, they are the way they are or something. That was how I was always thinking of it, but that was difficult for me because then I'd end up never writing the story. I just end up writing about the story,
right.
Actually writing the story. What happens though?
Yeah,
I don't know. Right. This is supposed to happen, but I don't know what happens really. Because,
yeah, exactly. And I don't know. So I don't really know what I'm going to be doing next at this point. But I definitely want to get back into filmmaking at some point. But right now I'm just trying to kind of get back on my feet after literally giving everything to this film, and it really took everything that I had to get this film made. And so I'm just trying to recover from that still, I guess. So
how long did it take you to film it?
How long? It took me about a year and a half in total to film the whole thing. So we, I was kind of like working with a bunch of different people, and we all had different schedules and stuff. So I had to try to figure out how to get all that to work and stuff, So, altogether, I think we had 28 days of filmmaking, if I remember right. So, and then that's kind of like spread across, because we obviously, in Michigan here, you can't really shoot in like the winter and stuff. So we shot in like the summer, a little bit in the fall before like the leaves started turning, because then that would not really work with the rest of the continuity. Right. And then we had like the winter, and then we shoot like the next year. So yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
How much was the budget, if you don't mind, or I don't know if you.
It was around like $35,000 to make the film. So yeah.
Dang.
It was a lot.
Was that all just from you? Anybody else contribute, or investors or anything?
I had one guy contribute some money to it, but about 80% of that was all my money. So
Still anything over 10K. For an independent, that's a lot to put in there. When you first made it, did you put it directly on Amazon, or was there another distribution you tried?
No, I put it directly on Amazon, and then I kind of I did go after like another distributor, but then they kind of got exposed as being just a scam and stuff. And
don't want to have that.
So then that kind of put the end to that whole thing. So
do you think now you try to get it onto a streaming service, or you try to make it DVDs, or how would you try to get it?
Honestly, I haven't done anything with the film for.
No, I'm saying in general, I mean for like another project, if you were to do one.
If I was going to do another project, I don't really know. I'd probably try to figure out a more I guess pragmatic way to get the film out there for people. It would probably be like some sort of digital service or something. I don't really know where I'm going to go with that next time. I definitely want to look into that before I actually make the movie, though, to figure out.
Good idea.
To figure out where I want to actually go with it. Because with this movie and stuff, like I was, it was kind of my own fault in a way, but like I was like thinking, hey, I can like get this movie into like some theaters and stuff like that, and then I got into one theater and it cost like half my soul to
Is that included with the budget, or is it separate?
That was included with the budget and stuff.
Okay, good. I was about to say $35K plus another 5,000 play for one night or something like.
Yeah, it was insane. It was like, the theater route is not the way to go with independent films like this. So
I think it would be cool, but you have to have the audience there as well and willing to pay.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, I don't know how much you'd make compared to, because it's showed at the theater. I don't know how much revenue you make off a ticket sale, technically.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way that the theater worked for me was I paid like a flat rate, and then basically it was my job to try to make the money after that. So yeah.
Might as well go with YouTube almost, crowdfunded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll probably do something like that next time. What I'm kind of thinking is I'll probably like build a website around the movie or something, and then like people can like watch it there on the website. I'll probably like I'll look into like some other like digital platforms like Amazon and stuff as well. I'm assuming that Amazon still probably has kind of more of a independent filmmaker friendly type of platform. I haven't looked at them ever since I put.
When you had Taker's Crown up there, how do they give you any revenue from it? Is it just kind of like an open account that like if somebody views it that you get like $1? Like, I have no idea.
It's not much at all. Like it goes according. If I remember right, I haven't looked at it in a while, but if I remember right, it's per minute, I think, or no, it's per hour. So basically, like every hour you make like 30 cents. Every hour of watch time of your movie, you make like 30 cents or something.
What?
So, yeah. Yep.
Oh my God. I thought at least a few bucks. Like,
no.
Like, I imagine it wouldn't be, you might as well put it on YouTube, really. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, I'm going to do a lot of research about that next time I make a film and stuff. It's more than likely probably going to be mostly just all digital next time as well.
Yeah.
And, next time I'm going to be a lot more smart with the way that I go about making a film and stuff.
A lot more smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I was, a lot younger and very passionate.
It's good experience. It's great experience, though.
It is.
Like,
it is.
Going through that will make sure that never happens again.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and the cool thing about it is that I'm kind of like looking. I've actually been following kind of the like the comic book guys a lot, and kind of seeing how they handle things and trying to kind of figure out how I can kind of convert that into a filmmaking experience. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking into that too, but it's much different with film than with comic books, and it's a completely different situation. It's like they have the whole comic industry is pretty much on the downhill, dying for the most part. Marvel and DC comics are not really spiking up, as to where film, even though a lot of it is crap, it's still very successful. It is, if anything, it's on an incline or it's flatline. It hasn't been going down though. I'd say quality is going down, but money's going up. So as long as that's going, people, I don't know how much interest people will have in independent film projects. I mean, I think people still enjoy them, but because they'll still enjoy the next however many bland movies come out, they'll still pay for those too. So, I don't know. They said, okay, instead of paying for that, I'd pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I tout that's 1% too. It's hard to see, hard to say, but I agree. I'm trying to figure that out too, and that's why. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's kind of why I think that, like, which I'm kind of looking this way as well. I'm probably going to be doing more of a serialized thing moving forward. I think that is a lot more of a viable direction for independent filmmakers as well, because that kind of content people can eat up whenever they want and stuff. It's a little bit more of a digestible thing for people who are taking in so much already to kind of they probably would be a little bit more open to supporting things like that anyway, especially if it's more of a digital type of thing. And so that's probably where I'm going to be heading in the future, is more of a series type of thing instead of an actual like film. So
yeah, I agree. It's like I'd like them to be films, but people just don't have the time or the interest or the available interest. Like, they've invested a lot into things, and now you come up too along with I don't know what the hell. Like, I imagine it's very hard for people to get interested in these types of things, and the longer they see it, they're like, oh, that's an hour movie or like an hour and a half, and I don't know about that. I want to wait 20 minutes to get interested. I want to be 20 minutes and have that be the end. Like, that's
exactly
pretty much what it is. And I agree. Like, the short film is technically what it is, but it's telling the same story over multiple episodes. It's series.
Exactly.
So that's how I agree too. That's how I'm thinking of it now. It's like I like to do my Rookie's Quest, but like that trilogy, they were each a little bit over an hour each. Yeah, I planned on having them being an hour and a half each, but I decided to cut back I cut out a lot of stuff in the final products because I'm just like, I could have this and I could ask these people to do something and I just could have all this extra story involved, but it's like, I just know that I'm trying to imagine somebody sitting through and watching this, and I'm like, I'm actually surprised if they sit through the whole thing as it is. For an hour and they're sitting and watching it and they haven't left yet, I'm surprised. So I'll leave it if it's more than an hour and a half, people are only going to watch maybe that hour anyway and not see the end or care. So.
And I think that it's kind of like you have to take the baby steps. Like if you want to get to the point where you're making like a big budget film or whatever, you can't really go the route that I went, where I tried to do that first. You gotta kind of build up to that, I think. And Jen's Peter has an idea that I kind of looked into. You could do a cartoon CGI of films. I've thought about that as well, like kind of going more of like the animated route as well. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It's this show called Dragon Prince. It is
I haven't seen that yet.
Good. It is so good. It's a fantasy show and stuff, and like that was like, man, this is so good. I could totally get into something like this moving forward. So I don't know. Like right now, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be heading in the future. I know that I want to continue to create, because I go crazy when I'm not like writing or thinking of stuff. So
I feel you.
Yeah. So I know that I definitely want to continue to do this. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to execute it next time. So we'll see. But
I hear you on that completely. And I'm at that point too, where like, 'cause part of me wants to stop, go, okay, just try to do something else. But I'm like, but I can't.
Yeah.
Like I've got too much drive in me to, and by now, I mean, I've come to a point where I can see it happen. And same with you, like after you made your first film, you're like, I am capable of seeing something through. So why would you want to go, no, I can't do it. Like you go, yes, I can. Like you can do it. It'll take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but and time, but it'll happen if you try.
Definitely.
So I think animation is really cool, and I think a lot of things are underrated when they're animated. People go, it's for kids, or it's even if it's bloody and gory, they go, it's just cartoony or something. But it's like, you can express so much in the 2D form, and the shock look of horror on their faces is more horrifying than a human can make sometimes. It's like, their true fear is exaggerated tenfold, and it's like, wow, they are freaked out. They can make it visually rememberable in your head. Yeah,
especially if it's like serialized content as well. Like Ruby, I don't know if you've seen Ruby.
I've heard about it a lot, right? Kitty talks about that a lot, but no, I haven't seen that.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of like a fantasy animated series done by Rooster Teeth, and it's like a series and stuff, but they do really well with that, because it's like each episode is like, I don't know, like 20 minutes, something like that. So it's like it's easily consumable by people. Like, they could watch it on their phone, they could watch it on their computer, they can watch it wherever, and it doesn't really take too much time out of their day, but they can still be very supportive of it. And I feel like that is kind of where I will be heading. It's kind of doing more of like that easy bite-sized kind of content, but I still want it to be really enjoyable and fun, and stuff that people can talk about. That's kind of a balance that you have to try to find. So
I agree, and I'd be looking forward if you do go into the animation stuff. It'd be cool to see some projects, or like it's hard to tell, because I kind of agree with you. And again, this goes back to the Comicsgate and compared to film stuff. Like they can get hold of some writers or printers. They have their process they have to go through. Not saying it's easy, of course. Yeah. But okay, that's them and what they have to do. But it's like for a filmmaker, you probably have to do most of the job yourself already. You have to do the majority of the work. Like you could find an editor, you could find a script editor or something too. You could find all these other things, but probably best to do most of them yourself, and then get equipment yourself. Like I don't even know who somebody would really go to help in a film project. Really, like I don't really know. Like maybe somebody that's professional with lighting and stage setup.
That costs a lot, but
makeup, prosthetic if you want a monster or something in there.
I mean, it is very different as far as like, trying to compare like comics writing to like filmmaking and stuff. But at the same time, I think that there's some things that you can learn from it, as at least as far as like how they, uh, they're creating comics that they are kind of like bringing their audience on the journey of creating as well and stuff, and kind of trying to make it a little bit more of like they're trying to make it a little bit more of like a consumer customer friendly relationship type of thing with their audience and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that. And that's probably what I would try to do more of in the future and stuff as well. So, but yeah, like I am really into fantasy. Like I love fantasy. And I'm frustrated because there's not very much good fantasy out there right now. Like Dragon Prince, that's why I highly recommend Dragon Prince. It is so good. It is
Check it out.
yeah, I highly recommend it. And if I was gonna try to do more like fantasy type of stuff, it would probably have to be more in like the animated format, because it's really tough to do fantasy in live.
You have to have actors, you have to have special effects, you have to have sound. Watching Lord of the Rings, that was the most. I mean, just to get the arrows that wisp over the castle at night, the amount of areas they had to go to get the sound, to get the noise of the octopus monsters for that brief few seconds. They had to go to different areas in the forest and like do plungers and different items on the puddles to get sounds that they want for sounds. Mm-hmm. It's like they had to have a whole football stadium stomp in sequence and pattern to get the illusion of an army. It's like, I love that type of effort. And it's like that alone is like this is why I also love DVDs and why I'm disappointed that streaming, I'd have more points for streaming if they had behind the scenes director commentary, etc. available. But since they don't, I'm getting really frustrated with that, because I want to see how they make a lot of these shows, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. even. Like, let me see how you guys are doing this. Walk me through your process. Oh, you don't have it available? Oh, look on YouTube. It's a little annoying. Little annoying. I have to do all this extra looking for. I'd rather just have it be with the package, but
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I love watching behind the scenes content a lot. So I'm always very fascinated when they kind of take you how they make things happen in their movies, especially with like movies like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Anything that has like big battle sequences, I'm always super fascinated how they make those happen. It's really, really awesome to see. So.
It's fun to hear how things almost happened as well, where it's like, could that have been better or way worse? Like, who knows? I've heard heard that in the original trilogy there was going to be another actual Skywalker at some point, and it's like a third or like another Force user. I heard about that. It was a possibility, but they're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that stuff so much. So
me too. And so like with the film, I guess Filmgate isn't the right word for it, because that's not what this is. It's just independent films on YouTube. I don't know what we'd call this with ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, because like it. At this point, that's the thing, is that there is like so much content out there that's being produced. Like now we have like Netflix and Amazon and all of these different companies that are getting into the whole filmmaking / TV series making game or whatever too. So,